This used to be piece goods here. All the piece goods ran in shelves that ran this way on both sides. Piece goods was run by a guy named George Mancini, and assistant was Guy McNamara. And right in this area here, that's where Alan Schroeder used to recut all the special recuts. And as I said, this was the special order cutting area with all the tables running this way. And my table, there was Tommy Green here, and my table was right there. And then our punch clock, there used to be a wall right here, right basically where these carts are standing, and our punch clock was there. And back in the day, we had 45 minutes for lunch back in those days. And here, in this area, from here to right about there, that was the pattern rack. And that was run by a guy, World War II veteran named Red Zalomic. His real name was Myron Zalomic. And his assistant was Daniela. And just in front of that was where there was a table with sew bar operators. They worked right in this area here. There was maybe 3 or 4 sew bar machines. And then, like I said, the pattern rack, and then against here, up along the wall, there was an assembly area. And the ladies would work at assembling, I believe, specials and stock work. They would assemble it before it would go to the shop. I'm not positive about that, but pretty sure. And then this was a hand cutting room, stock. And back then, you had all the tables for the cutters, hand cutters, ran this way, all the way down. And right here, in this corner, this is where the cutting room office was. It was an open office, and a guy named Freddie Schubert, a lady named Erna Go, and another, the cutting room manager, Leonard Green, had their desks here in this little corner here. And then there was 4 tables running this way. This table against the wall here was Luigi Monaco. He did all the recuts for stock for the pant shop. The next table over was the recut table for a guy named Chester Tomascu, who did all the recuts for the stock for the coats. Now, when I started here in 1981, Chester had 46 years with the company. One of the most patient people I've ever known in my life, and a great teacher. And then the next 2 tables, the one next to the window was Norm Kilborn, who was a saint to me. When I was an apprentice cutter, he was my teacher. And he still is alive. He was a prince of a man. And all the tables ran this way. And I believe the first table up there was Bill Harris, or Don Harris. No, not. His last name was Harris. I can't remember. Next, Bill Shaneman and Bill Bowman. I can't remember after that. Then I think it was Isaac Lanos, Alex Colasanto. Next one, I can't remember. I think it might have been me for a bit. And then there was Frank Maggiolini. Ray Heberly. Kenny Litchworth. Val Bulow. Oh, God. I can't remember them all. There was a Patsy Cambio, John Strobel was a cutter for a bit when I first started here. Ralph Montemuro and Ralph Colasanto. Ralph Colasanto and Alex Colasanto were brothers. And then in the back corner there was a guy that cut the undercollars. His name was Teddy. And he always said, "Hello there." That was his famous thing. And none of these machines were here. This was not here. And it's progress for you. We have all these machines in an empty cutting room now. I don't see that as progress, unfortunately. I just don't see it. But that was a glory days when I first started here. Half these guys were World War II or Korean War veterans. Had a few Vietnam veterans, Val Bulow being one of them, Dan Schelt being another one. Norm Kilborn, Korean War. Don Job, Korean War. Chester Thomascue, he fought in World War II, so he left for a little bit and then came back after the war was over. Thank God he survived. But 19 years old, starting here and working with all these guys, I didn't realize at the time that I was in the presence of greatness. These guys were heroes, and I didn't realize it. And their absence is definitely felt. And I know it sounds morose, but I long for the days when I first started here. This place was filled with people, filled with energy, filled with work, and the history. It's a loss. All 4 floors were just filled with people. When I met Maria, and she got me the job here, she worked in Shop F for a guy named Joe Ferranti. She was a basting stitch puller. Last operation before everything went down to the stock room. Wall-to-wall people. Wall-to-wall people. Full of just absolute passion. I could hear the voices of the Italian people that worked here. It's like music to my ears. Did we all get along? No. There was a lot of, sometimes we didn't get along at all. But that's life, you know. And then over here, that was where Patsy Benvenuto worked. There was a window right there, and you could look out on this first cutting table. I think that might have been moved a little bit, but that's where Victor Tiberio worked, and I used to work on the other side with him for a period of time. This was different, but it was the paper room where they cut the patterns out of hard, heavy cardboard. Different configuration, but that's generally the location. And then this area here, when I first started here, was where the elite cutters worked. You had guys that cut overcoats and very important stuff that had to be cut accurately and well. And we had guys that used up and down machines. We had 2 kinds of cutters. We had Eastman round blade, and then we had Eastman up and down blades. And these guys were top in the field. They were the elite. We had Harvey Curran was one of them. Sam DiVincenzo was another one. There was a guy named, I want to say Charlie Hauser. I think he was another one. Can't remember for sure. There was 4 guys that worked out here back in the day, though, and they were the best of the best as far as stock cutting goes. And their tables did run this way, but then they retired out or moved into different departments, and this was changed over to the special order department, and all the tables ran this way. And when they moved the special order department over here, I moved over here with it, and my table was 2 tables up from those pillars. We had, I would guess, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 to 10 tables just between the pillars there. And then we had another 4 tables on the other side of the pillars. And mine was the second one up from the pillars. And I worked there, I remember it was back 34 years ago at least, because I know the day my son was born, there used to be a phone on that wall where that coat is hanging. Or maybe it was the next pillar over. Oh, actually it was right there. That's where the phone used to be. And I got the call to come to the hospital because my wife was giving birth to our baby. Remember that day well. And back over there was all the linings. That's where they stored the linings. There was a guy named Mo Schwartzman. He had an office back there with his secretary. And there was a guy named Victor Martinez that was like the guy that bundled all the linings for stock jobs and brought them down to the shops. And we had our lining cutters just beyond those pillars on the left-hand side up there, back in there. I remember Delbo and Al Sullivan were a couple of names of guys that worked there. Anyway, that's my recollection of the history up on the cutting room. Back when I started in 1981, that was 40 years ago. A lot of history here. A lot of livelihoods were made here. Essentially spent my whole life working for this company. So it's something I'm proud of, but something I'm also a little bit heartbroken about, to see it go this way. Anyway, take care.